Okay, in this video, 4 things to consider when it comes to building offline or online. And if we have not, my name is Edita. I'm from VIE now. I'm a former struggling network marketer because I hated prospecting. It didn't work for me. It felt awkward. I didn't like approaching people, chasing, trying to convince. I felt very uncomfortable sending copy and paste messages. But then I found a way to get my ideal prospects to come to me instead, and it changed everything. And I share that information here at VIE now. And by the way, if you would like to discover how to recruit new team members without having to do all the stuff that you don't like, grab my 3-step formula at viesnow.com/3 steps. I believe the link is in the description of this video, and today I want to talk about offline building versus online building and a few differences for you to consider if you are still unsure. So first and foremost, so that's away from all the four things I want to discuss today, is that I'm just getting my notes here just in case I forget something. So online building works. It works. I've been online only, 100% online for 2.5 years. I don't necessarily take the same approach as many other people, many other network marketers, but it does work. There are strategies, and attraction marketing is one of those strategies, the best strategy, if you will, in terms of building online. There are reasons for that, and you'll understand that. I talk about that stuff a lot. But today I want to kind of do some comparison because of a question somebody asked last week. So the first thing to remember, to consider, and it's very obvious in this situation worldwide that we are been having now for over a year, that offline prospecting, offline building isn't even possible in many parts of the world, including where I am now in Ireland. We are not allowed to go anywhere further from than 5 kilometers from home, and that's, I'm not sure how was that in miles. 5 kilometers in miles is it's 3.1 miles. So as you can imagine, that's not far, and can't be doing any driving, any meetings, anything like that. And there was nowhere to, actually, we can't be meeting with people now. We're not allowed to meet with people, so that automatically removes the possibility to build online. So but offline, but online prospecting is basically pandemic proof, crisis proof, and it usually actually becomes way more active during difficult times. It becomes way more active because people, more and more people find it as the only solution. The second thing to consider is targeting. So when you are building offline, you're not very targeted. You are basically approaching people, just anyone. You are operating with that mindset, that advice that everyone is your prospect. And I've been saying that it's not true. And it's very difficult to target people by what they want, by whether they want your solution or not. You can go to certain meetups, certain places where people that are more likely to be interested in what you have congregate. gather together, maybe certain events sometimes, but it's way more difficult. Whereas in online, you can find people who want your stuff the same day. You can find many of them in just one day. So, when we are talking about building online, it's very, very useful in terms of finding people who want to solve the problem that you are solving. The third point is scaling. How big you can grow. So obviously, it's way more time and energy consuming if you are doing it offline. How many people can you meet with in one day? That's if you can afford working full time on your business. But what if you can't? Like when I started in the current opportunity, my daughter was only 1 year and a few months, and I was trying to prospect, and it was driving me crazy. I was going long distances to meet with certain people. I was meeting with the same person a few times, doing these crazy follow-ups. And it was so exhausting. Besides, I felt guilty that I was actually dragging my daughter around and I was chasing her in places as I talked to my prospects. That just wasn't working out. And then I did try to meet with people after my daughter's bedtime, which used to be 8:30 p.m. The earliest. And how many people can actually agree to come around, somewhere in your area, because I couldn't afford going too far from home. I still needed to be quite close to home just in case of any situations, and so it was so stressful. So it's very exhausting, but when you do it offline. But online, you can reach so many people in such a short space of time. And when you include things like targeting people who actually want your stuff, and you can, talk to many people, or better, if you are using attraction marketing, you can actually talk one-to-many through your content, through videos like the one that I'm doing now, and even further, better than that, if you decide to do paid advertising, it gets even more powerful. So obviously, when you do it online, it's way more scalable. You can grow way bigger. And the fourth thing, and I already covered that, is the flexibility. Because like I said, when my daughter was so small and was trying to drive around, or, I was waiting for her bedtime, for after her bedtime, when I was already exhausted. Besides, it was so difficult to ask people to meet with me at such a time. And online, when I moved online, my normal working hours became obviously after my daughter's bedtime, and for as long as I wanted or I could. And there were cases when I was getting up in wee hours for meetings, not very often, but I if I wanted to, if I chose to do it, that was a possibility. When if you do it on offline, you don't have such a possibility. It's not really an option. So it depends. You are way less dependent on your circumstances. Yes, it still gets difficult. It still gets tiring at times. There is no magic bullet. But at least it's possible. Or for working people, the only time as well they can meet with their prospects is after work, not even after work, probably, you know, after all the family responsibilities and so on. So it's much easier to work online when you can actually choose. If there is and again, I mean, it depends on how much you want to put in it, on your goals and so on. But you know, even if you are traveling around, if you are going somewhere or whatever, it's still a possibility, you know, to dedicate an hour or two to doing this. So it's much easier, less stressful when you actually are flexible and you can't do it when you're building offline. So as you can see, building online has a lot of advantages. And I haven't even talked about all of them in this video. You know, I only covered 4, but it has even more advantages, and I'll be covering that stuff, you know, in future videos. But in case you are still thinking, you know, should you do it or should you not? Yes, it works, and yes, it has a lot of advantages, and yes, it's easier in a way. So you shouldn't be hesitating. In terms of a lot of people tell me that, but I'm not a techie, you know, and so on. Well, that's not a problem. If you manage to watch this video, you have enough skills to build online. In many cases, social media alone is enough for you to know, for you know, to be able to grow quite a bit. You know, yes, there are more complex things you can choose to do, but they not necessarily are not in the beginning anyway. So I hope this video was useful in case you are still kind of not sure whether you should do it or not. I say yes, absolutely. And thanks very much for watching. And if you would like to discover the overall picture of how to recruit new team members without having to prospect and do all the awkward things using social media, grab my 3-step formula at viesnow.com/3 steps. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.